few quick comments about your journals in general because I don't have time to make a lot of comments. Overall, you're off to a really good start. Some general things though that I'm noticing across the board is, one, you're going to lose a couple points if you don't label it and put the number on it. So there's quite a few people that forget to do that. So that's one way you can make improvements in your journal. Secondly, some of you are not getting all the information from your notes into your journal. So that's another thing to watch. And if for some reason you lose your notes or whatever, you should know that now some of the notes may not be exactly the same, but in this notebook, I have all the notes that I have ever taken, pretty much. So there's many for each one. And so if you need to copy some notes, you can take this out, and then I want you to put it back, though, when you're done in order. Otherwise, everything gets really confusing. So you can just take one of the notes, borrow it, and copy it. Craftsmanship has been pretty good. I mean, that's how neatly it's done, so that's something. The other thing that I'm noting is that some of you are taking your notes the same way every time. You're not varying the presentation, and that is acceptable. That is, you can pass this class doing it that way, but if you want to get a higher score, you need to vary your materials, your layout, etc. So those are just some general comments in case you got your book back and looked at your scores and said, why did I get this? So if you got a 1, it's probably because you're missing information. And then the last thing to know is that you can always redo your page or improve your page and ask me to regrade it. And generally what I have you do, and I don't know where they are at this very moment, let's pretend like this Band-Aid is a sticky note. What I would have you do then when you hand in your journal is, if you want me to recheck this page, put a little sticky note in here and put up here recheck number 4. And then I'll recheck it and change it in your packet and change it in the grade book. Okay? I do not have the grades in the grade book yet. Will I get them in the grade book before Tuesday? I'm not sure. That is my intent, but that may or may not happen. Okay? So those are some quick notes. Here's the notebook if you need it. Okay, neutral colors. The colors we're looking at right here in your book on page 139 are the neutral colors. And there isn't really a definition of them. So what we're going to do is just talk about what the neutral colors are, because these are the ones that are not on the color wheel, but they're very much a part of our lives. So there's 3 neutral colors. And I think looking at the figure 6.6, you know what they are. What are they? Yes. Okay. And you can put them in any order on your chart. I'm just copying one I've already done. So, oh, you can see that. Black, white, and gray. Now, is it AY or EY? Depends on whether you are an American, you're speaking American English, or if you're speaking British. Because for the longest time, I did not know why they were spelled 2 different ways. And one of them is the British spelling. I don't know which one it is, so it doesn't matter. I will accept either spellings for gray. Okay? All right, so definition of black. If black's not on the color spectrum, what the heck is happening when you see black? We're talking science. And if you look in your book, it tells you. Okay? What does it say about black? It says black. Remember we said that color is a reflection of certain pigments in the spectrum. Black reflects no light. Black is the absence of light. So what happens is when the black, when you see black, it's because it's absorbing all of the colors. So it's the absence of colors. So we can define black as the absence of light, which is pretty easy to understand, right? Because if I turn off the lights and there's no light in here, what is it? It's black. All right. Okay, white is the opposite, right? So what is white? White is, I'm gonna use a little different wording here so it makes sense when you think about it, is when all colors are reflected. So white is just all of the colors combined. And that's why we don't see like rainbows all the time, because they're not that white light. What we're seeing most of the time when it's light outside is white light. But then when you have the rainbow, what's happening is the white light's going through this. It's a prism-like effect, and it's separating them. Okay. So gray. Something's gray. It's not black. It's not white. It's somewhere in between, right? So, how are we going to say that? We're going to say this isn't really a definition, but when more color is reflected. Okay, so remember, when all the colors are reflected, you get white, right? So when more colors are reflected, are you going to get a lighter gray or a darker gray? Yes, good. And in turn, when less color is reflected, when more color is reflected, when more color is absorbed. I'm going to change that. When more color is absorbed, in other words, that's the opposite of reflected, you get a darker gray. Okay. And last but not least, as we always do, I'm not going to show you examples because you pretty much know. Imagine if a picture, we want to know what all of these communicate. Black communicates. And I haven't been writing that in your notes, but I think that's good because when you look back at your notes, I know all this information. I teach it twice a day, and I've been doing it for years. So these notes are for you. So if you go back to your notes a week later, or for your test, it's going to be months later, or for a drawing class or something, you might want to know this. You should go back and be able to understand what your notes say. So you don't go, what's this list of words? I don't know what that means. So what does black communicate? Some words that come to mind. If somebody's wearing all black, what are they communicating? Okay, dark. What else? Scary. What else? When do we wear black?
Death.
Okay, it can communicate death, although there are some cultures where actually white communicates death. So it's a cultural thing. What else? Generally, do we say evil or goodness? Usually evil. Like I said, these are never always true. There's always exceptions. If you go out and you want, and if I go out dancing, and actually I do have a little black dress, okay, they always talk about that. What does that communicate? Does that communicate that I'm an evil woman? No. What generally, if you've got a nice little black, they call them cocktail dresses. I know you guys can't drink cocktails, but what am I communicating? Sophisticated, I would say. Okay, it always makes you look like you're very sophisticated. Hope you know that word. It's a good one. Okay, could be bold. Could be another one. Very strong statement. You know when we had the blackouts at Linn-mar? You guys know about those yet? You're making a statement. Okay, what about white? Talk to your partners if you don't know anything, and then start yelling out stuff so we can get passes.
Plain.
Both white and black could be plain. If I'm wearing all white. Okay, I'm a bride. I wear all white. What am I communicating? Innocence. Okay, good. Purity. Okay. And it used to be that people expected when you got married, and some people still believe this, that you did not have sex, right? Okay, so you're pure. You're a virgin, that kind of thing. That's kind of changed. Most people don't go along with that anymore. But when I was growing up, that was the expectation. What else? Is white clean or dirty? Clean. Okay. Is it quiet or peaceful, or is it more chaotic? Quiet. Black would be a louder sound. Happy could be. I got risky written down here from last year. I don't know why I wrote that. That doesn't make sense to me right now. Okay, so those are some examples. We could go on and on and on. What about gray? What?
Boring.
Boring, okay. Boring. Okay. Lots of times gray, it's not black, it's not white, so it's just kind of neutral. You know, you're not on one side or the other. And we talk about that. We use that in our language. We say things aren't totally black or white. Sometimes they're gray. Okay, what else? If it's gray outside, what's the mood? What's the stormy? Could be. What else? Huh? Gloomy, good word. Okay, could be kind of dull. Same thing as boring. Okay, there are your notes for the neutral colors. All right? Any questions? Okay, moving on. We're covering a lot of ground today. Okay, intensity is similar to value in that intensity is about manipulating colors and changing them. So if we turn to page 142, and you're going to get them confused. But if you turn to 142, I want you to look at the green chart, which you probably can't see it. You really can't see up here on the screen. So look in your book, and look what happens to green. The first green, how would you describe that green? On figure 6.10, bright green. And then go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How would you describe that green? Dark green, what else? We've got a term for that. What? Did you say army? Dirty green. It could be dirty green. It could be army green. Olive green, right? Okay. So what happens? When we're talking about intensity, is that we're talking about how bright or dull a hue is. Okay. So definition, and I'm going to put it kind of smack dab in the middle here. Definition is the brightness or dullness of a hue. So really bright colors, we have a label for those. So if they're really bright colors, and those are going to be the pure hues are going to be the brightest. Bright colors are going to be called the high intensity. And that also, you can just make a little note, that's going to inevitably be the hue. The brightest color you can get is the pure hue. Okay? And then the dull are called, guess what? Low intensity. Okay, now the question is, we talked about light and dark, that's value. Now we're talking about bright and dull. And you're going to get those two confused, I'll tell you right now. Okay, but how do we change the intensity? How did we change the value? What we added what or what? Black or white, right? Now, to change the intensity, you add the complement also known as, that's AKA, the opposite. We haven't talked about complements yet, of the hue. So, for example, back to the good old color wheel. If I wanted to change the intensity of green, what would I add? Red, because it's the opposite. If I want to change the intensity of yellow, I would add, what's the opposite? Violet or purple, yes. Okay, if I want to change the intensity of orange, I add green, okay? So that's how you change the intensity. All right, so now let's think about, you all know what a bright color is, so I don't think I'm going to have to bug you too much about just descriptive words. And see if I can find some examples. Yesterday I was all prepared. That's warm colors and cool colors. Anyway, you know what bright colors are. I don't have examples today, but so what? When you're wearing bright colors, what does that express? Happy? Yep. What else? Buoyant? Ooh, good word. What else? Excited. Good. What else? Enthusiastic. Big word. Did you say bold? Yeah. Good. You guys are getting good at this. Intense. Okay. All right. What am I wearing today? I'm wearing a pretty bright color, and I'm pretty happy and excited. Did somebody in here do the scream? Okay. Miss Benda, who's going to be here tomorrow, she gave this to me, so. All right. Sorry, I zigzagged. That's what I do. That's the kind of line I am. Dull colors. If you're wearing dull colors. Who's wearing dull colors today? You are. You've got grays. Does anybody have a color that's dull? Brown, kind of. That's kind of like a red dulled. Nobody really has a dull color on today. Either have bright colors on or not. Okay, so, but what are dull colors? What would they express? Pardon? Loneliness, did you say? Okay. Loneliness. I think I'm still recording. I hope so. What else? Boring or exciting? Boring. Not to say you have to be what? Sad. Dull. Should we already put? Yes. Good. What else? Dreary. Somebody said last year, I think this is kind of cute, chill. You know what that means? Kind of chill, kind of laid back. All right. Okay, so you get the idea. Okay. So just in case.